lot of talk from the players we just heard was, even through all the trades and all that, or at least the comments leading up to the trade deadline, the mentality of this group and the veterans were kind of leading the way. Can you talk about that and describe maybe even some of the moments that you've seen throughout your time of a team that's just mentally dialed in and keeps on doing what they need to do to become successful despite all the noise?
Yeah, I think it's probably because we've seen it all year. So it's nothing different, nothing new for us. And you mentioned the older players. They've been the guys that have been the best guys with it. So they've been around it before. They understand this time of year. They know what comes with it. And they've done a really good job of bringing the younger players along in that area.
Oliver has mentioned that throughout this time, and I'm sure winning helps, but they try to keep the vibe and spirits up by having a laugh and just getting along with each other.
Yeah.
What do you do around this weird time where changes could be coming and to keep yourself sane? What does the coaching staff do?
Same thing we do every day. Like, again, it's a day on the calendar, but we look at it as game day. So we don't change how we prepare based on what may be coming 4 or 5 days down the road. So we as coaches, we stay the same.
Is there a part of you that just wants Friday to get here as soon as possible? Like are you guys tired of this?
It's a good question, but like I said, I just feel like it's been something we've dealt with all year long. It went right back to the summertime at the draft with Tyler getting traded for Sharon. It's been from that point, so it's almost like, we don't talk much about it. We talk about it here. So we've had it. It's been around forever, so it's nothing really different for us.
What's it like when maybe friends or other family members try to bring it up to you?
I don't often talk to them about stuff like that, so they know often not to ask those questions. I typically won't answer anything.
Ryan, two-part question. Any update on Connor Zary, and what would you like to see from Andrei Kuzmenko in that spot?
Yeah, Connor we thought was going to be all right, and sometimes the next day they don't respond quite as well, so he won't be in the lineup for us tonight, but it is a short-term thing. And with Kuzi, it's the pace of play, and you almost feel like Connor and Kuz are similar type players, but different. I don't know if that makes any sense, but it's the pace of play that he has to play with. He has to be around the puck so he has impact, and he's able to use the skill set that he has the right way, which is those short little cutbacks, being hard on pucks down low in the offensive zone, and shooting. So he's got to move his feet and make sure he's in positions to allow that to come to the forefront.
And you've seen this, from the AHL standpoint as well when you were coaching down there. Like when Matt Coronado's been up recently, it's been up for a few games or maybe just up for one game. Is there a different sort of maybe urgency that clicks with a guy when he realizes, oh geez, this could be sort of a limited time opportunity for me? I
think so, and I think he's seen over the course of the year that there's different people that'll go back and forth. So there is, but there isn't at the same time. Like I think he's done a really good job in the American League. He's been consistent. He's on the scoreboard every night, which is something that we want to see from him. That's part of his development. And he's learning how to play a full season against professional players that are much older. And it takes a lot out of a young guy that comes out of university that doesn't play a lot, just based on their schedule. So this has been an adjustment for him. So coming off a heavy game yesterday that they played, he's got a chance to get catch his breath a little bit today, and then we'll look forward to having him back around our team.
Talked about how trades, whatever, the whole thing presents opportunities. Braden Pahal is a guy who's come in and has had an opportunity.
Yeah.
How do you think he has adjusted, and what have you liked about the way he's taken advantage of that opportunity?
I think he's been excellent. He's a good Western Canadian boy, and you almost know what you're going to get from one of those players. And the one thing that we do like about the way he approaches the game is he's physical. He knows who he is, and as I've mentioned before, he just doesn't rub guys out. If he has an opportunity to hit someone, they're going to know he's coming, and I think that's added something to our back end that we didn't have a lot of before.
Right, I saw a lot of players in the AHL who were top 6 guys in that league, but their game didn't translate to being bottom 6 guys in this league. Dryden Hunt is a top 6 guy in the AHL, has played top 6 and bottom 6 in the NHL. What allows him to do that?
Experience. We've talked a lot about Dryden here over the last little bit, but his experience of I think from a younger guy being a skill player in junior, scoring a lot of goals, to being someone like you talk about with Matt, he's been up and down a little bit, where those players have to find a way to make sure that I know how I have to get myself to the NHL, and I know what I have to do to stay there. So if it means you're slotted on a 4th line, there's a role that you have to play, and he takes pride in doing that. When he gets opportunity to play up in the lineup, the skill set that he does have allows him to play there. But the great thing that we like about him is he doesn't lose the kind of edge that a fourth liner needs to have, and I think that's what's allowed him to play some shifts with some of our more skilled players.
Ryan, I know you've talked about Blake's leadership throughout this season, and this will be kind of similar to the first question today, but after the Pittsburgh game, when he comes out and sort of declares, we're not here to pack it in and talk about the future or look toward the future, is that a little bit of a snapshot of what he's doing behind the scenes?
Sure. Yeah, the short answer for that one would be for sure. And that's a lot of whether it's listening to what he says around the room or watching him prepare and practice and play games. That is what he's saying for sure. So,
Ryan, you might not have gotten the headlines from the way the game finished the other night, but can you maybe just speak to what Michael Backlund has done, given the tough matchups that he's always getting on a nightly basis, but in particular the other night for you guys?
yeah, it's every night, as you said, especially at home. We always play him. It's no surprise who he's going to play against. But the great thing about him is, you start him in his own zone a lot of time, he and his line mates. But they're also the line that generates typically the most for us 5-on-5. So he's been excellent for us. And you look at older players like we've talked about, you need them at this time of the year, and he's been consistent for us.
What did it mean to see that Jeremy Poirier it's been a long time that he was able to get back out there yesterday for the Wrangler?
Yeah, you're happy for him because you never know with those type of injuries and doing everything right. He had the proper equipment on, and it was a bad luck situation. So it's nice to see him get back on the ice again, and probably more so for him. Like, you think of the grind a guy's got to go through every day to get himself back into a position of play, and when you're working things back like he had to, you spend a lot of time with our trainers. So I'm sure he was sick of them and they were sick of him. So it was nice to see him back on the ice.
Were you surprised at how fast he got back?
Yeah, actually a little bit. I didn't think he'd be playing until a little bit further down the road. So good on him, because that's just means that he's put in the effort and the time to get better.
Kraken are one of the teams that you're battling with for a playoff spot. What are you going to have to do to have success against them tonight?
Very similar to what we saw in Pittsburgh, the way they play the game. They're a pressure team, so we didn't handle it well for the first couple periods. So it's a good thing, I think, that we saw that a few nights ago. So it'll give us a chance to be a little bit more prepared for that.
How important has it been to get to lean on Noah Haffin in critical moments in games this season? He seems like he's elevated his game a lot.
He has from day one. I feel like since he's been here, he's gotten better. When he came in as more of a I should be in all these offensive situations guy, to now he's comfortable being a guy that's used in all situations, and that's part of development and growth. So he's done a good job with that. I also think our staff has done a good job with that and helping bringing him along.
Off the ice, have you seen him evolve over the years, just as a professional, as a man from when you first saw him here?
I think maybe the last word, he's turned into a man. He's a young guy when he came here, even though he's played a ton of games, but he continues to grow and get better and better.